Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS. Continuing on with NBA playoffs, we got Pacers Celtics game 2 in this one. For the live show tomorrow, I'm actually going to the Phillies Rangers game. It's an afternoon game, and I'm doing the show from the parking lot, from the tailgate. So if we're able to make it, we're going to be live at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. I'm going to have my picks ready, but Prop Beaver's doing the graphics, so he's going to produce the show. And this is the first time we ever tried something like this, so we'll see how it goes. That's at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. As far as Wednesday night, I'm recording this right now at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm 1-1 on the day in the MLB. I do have a couple more bets riding. Also, the Mavs T-Wolves game 1 hasn't started yet. I got the under in that one at 207. I bet that really light though. So I'm not really too stressed about that, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Pacers Celtics game 2. Let's roll.
Welcome to the SWUS. The SWUS. SWUS. Hey, get the SWUS.
All right, like I said, Indiana's in Boston for game 2. Celtics are laying 9. I actually say 8.5's open too. So Celtics are laying 8.5 or 9, depending on your sports book. Total sitting at 224.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we should see a 6-point Celtics win. Final score 118-112 Boston. Injuries and inactives, and we'll start with Indiana, and we have nobody on the report for the Pacers as of right now. So Pacers are going to be at full strength again for this one. On the Boston side, Kristaps Porzingis is going to miss another game. I did read that there's a chance he returns in game 4 of this series, so we'll have to wait and see. We know he's definitely not playing in this one. Tillman listed as questionable. I actually just learned his dad passed away, so I'm not sure if he's returning. He's listed as questionable. He missed game 1. We'll have to wait and see for him. All right, so let's talk about game 2 here. First off, I want to bring up the free throw discrepancy in game 1. These kinds of numbers will always get people chirping. You can see free throw attempts, 30 for the Boston Celtics, just 10 for the Pacers. I do want to add, though, that that's kind of how it should be. Now, 30-10 is kind of crazy. We're talking about dead last to first. Defensive free throw rate. The Pacers are dead last. Nobody fouls as much as the Indiana Pacers, and nobody fouls as little as the Boston Celtics. So I wouldn't be surprised if the free throw discrepancy is extreme through most of this series. I mean, this is the worst in the league against the best in the league in that department. And a lot of people don't really, I don't want to say don't get that, but maybe it doesn't register that drawing fouls and defending without fouling is a skill set. The Celtics don't foul, and the Pacers hack a lot. So the Boston Celtics are going to have significantly more free throw attempts throughout this series. That's just how it's going to be. Obviously, we know the big story from game 1 is the Pacers offense, which is turning out to be one of the biggest stories of these playoffs. I mean, this team just doesn't miss a beat. They picked up right where they left off from the Knicks series in game 7. 53.5% from the floor as a team in game 1 on the road in Boston. They shot over 37% from 3. Both of those numbers outshot Boston on their home floor, who were well rested. Boston shot 47.5% from the floor, 33.3% from outside. And if we look at the overall numbers over the course of the season and in these playoffs, I mean, we really shouldn't be surprised by this. Indiana, first in offensive efficiency, first in effective field goal percentage, first in points per game. That's in the regular season and the playoffs. They have the number 1 offense in the regular season, number 1 offense in the playoffs. And despite coming off that 7-game series, brutal series against the Knicks, came out and didn't miss a beat. Now, let's take a look at some underlying numbers from game 1 to see if we can find some opportunities for regression here. I think rebounds might be one of them. Indiana actually out-rebounded Boston 44-43. Celtics aren't an elite rebounding team, but they are a better rebounding team than the Pacers, so I expect those numbers to swing back towards Boston. Turnovers, though. What the hell is this? Indiana turned the ball over 22 times to the Celtics 15. I mean, that is crazy. Indiana is an offense that doesn't turn the ball over, and we'll get to that in a second. But a -7 turnover rate from the Pacers, and they got outscored in the fast break, 14-16. Another uncharacteristic number here. Boston outscored the Pacers here in transition. And if you look at the turnover numbers on the year, offensive turnover rate, 6th to 1st. Defensive turnover rate, 18th to 29th. The Pacers should not have a -7 turnover rate in this matchup. So, yeah, the Celtics should definitely do a better job on the glass in game 2. But as far as turnovers go, Indiana's not a team that turns the ball over. They turned it over 22 times. So I expect that number to come way down. And if we're looking at individual performances here, I mean, the Celtics' main pieces played well. Jason Tatum, 12 of 26 from the floor, 36 points, 12 rebounds. Didn't shoot great from outside, but that's a solid game for Tatum. Jaylen Brown, 10 of 20 from the floor, 26 points, 7 rebounds. Drew Holiday, 10 of 16 from the floor, 28 points, 8 assists. These are solid games here from the Boston superstars. And I know the general consensus is that the Celtics offense played terrible and they just couldn't get shots to fall. And I'm not saying that's untrue, but if you look at their numbers here in game 1 versus the rest of the playoffs, I mean, 47.5% from the floor in game 1. They're shooting 48% from the floor in the rest of the playoffs. I guess the three-point numbers are a little bit down, but it's not crazy. 33.3% in game 1 versus 38.5% in the playoffs. So the Boston Celtics did not shoot as poorly as you think. It really wasn't that bad. Then the question becomes, what kind of looks are they missing? Are they missing wide open shots? I mean, usually that's a good spot to find some regression if a team goes like 2 for 20 from wide open threes, but really nothing here either. As far as wide open threes, this is according to NBA Advanced Stats. A wide open three-point shot is determined by 6 feet or more of space. So 3-point attempts with 6 feet or more of space. Pacers 9 of 23, 39.1%. Boston 8 of 21, 38.1%. So it's really the same there. Here's where this one gets a little more challenging because up until this point, everything I've looked at is kind of pointing me towards Indiana plus the points. I don't think there's a ton of regression on the side of Boston. So as of right now, I was leaning towards Indiana, but here's the thing. Historically, as in the last handful of years, last 10 years, last 20 years, this has been a spot to bet Boston. Check these trends out. Since 2004, home favorites in game 2 after winning game 1 but not covering the number. 40 and 11 straight up, 28 and 23 against the spread. Now, almost closer to 500 against the spread, meaning the road dog does cover a bunch of times. This is since 2004, but check this out. This same exact trend since 2015. So the last 8-9 years here, home favorites in game 2 after winning game 1 but not covering the number, 16-1 straight up and 13-4 against the spread. So in the last 10 years, this has been a spot to bet Boston. Now, if you subscribe to this channel, you know that I personally don't love these kinds of trends, but it's kind of hard to argue with 16-1 and 13-4 against the spread. I guess I'm leaning towards Boston, but check this out. This is what I did. So I actually didn't place a bet against the spread. I would lean towards Boston -9 or -8.5, I guess, if you can get it. But I think the safest bet on the board, in my opinion, is just take the Celtics team total over. It's at 116.5. I already bet it. I already posted in the Discord. Because if the Pacers are going to cover, I think it's because they're going to score 120 points right back on Boston. I don't see any avenue to the Pacers defense coming out here and stopping this Celtics offense. So I think the safest bet on the board, the one that I placed and the ticket that I am holding, Boston team total over 116.5. That's what I'm going to roll with. As far as a pick against the spread, I'd lean towards Boston, but if I'm being honest, I don't feel like I have a great feel. I don't feel like I have a great feel for this series right now, so I'm just going to go with what I think is a safer bet. Boston team total over. Like I said earlier, live show 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. I'll be in the parking lot at Citizens Bank Park. We'll see how it goes. If you're able to make it, would love to see you in the comments. If you want my top bets or top bets from anyone on the staff here, head over to KyleKirms.com and sign up for Sauce Network Plus. Comes with everyone's top bets and access to the Discord and all that. If you're interested, head over there. Let's have ourselves a nice Thursday. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, I had a nice Wednesday night. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.